What's up, guys? Doing a stream test, the GoPro Hero 12. I thought I would do kind of a recap of what day one was like. If you've seen some of our previous videos that we posted today, we mounted it on the fence. We mounted directly using the new quarter 20 tripod mount fitting. It's a really good option. Mounted it directly to the slider without any add-ons, which is kind of what we're going for. We really want that rugged mount with no ability to move. That can only be used if your fence is completely straight and you can mount it level. Otherwise, you'll need something to tilt it fore or aft. The GoPro tripod mount still works because it has the retractable fingers. We also tested using the double mini ball, the small rig magic ball. That works pretty well too. Our only complaint with that particular item is that if you take a fence hit, it's not strong enough to keep it from moving, and so it may require adjustment. But because it requires adjustment, it also acts as a shock absorber to protect your camera a little bit. So certainly there's some options, and I like that. Mounting no issues. Came home today or came to the shop this afternoon and did some testing in the lab with the torture chamber. Ran 110 degree Fahrenheit torture chamber at 4K 30 linear standard. And when I say standard, I mean not HDR. We'll talk about the HDR features later. It's probably not something that you're going to use in recording games. I think it's going to be processor intensive, but of course we will test that. Let's see, we ran for 2 hours in the torture chamber at 110. Looks like it got close to 144 at the hottest point. We did some thermal captures, and we'll be updating that on our blog as well. But all in all, day one was pretty good. The only complaint that we've got thus far is that it still suffers from the power supply issue. If you run without a battery, which we recommend for heat purposes, and we'll test with it without the battery to make sure that translates to the 12. Running without a battery, it's real sensitive what power supply it likes. I don't know the wattage of the USB port in our torture chamber, but it didn't like it. It gave the undervolt alarm, and we had to use a 30-watt dongle to power it, and that seemed to work okay. But what that means is you're going to be very limited on what batteries you can use. Now with the Hero 11, this was an issue as well. We were able to get around it using the GoPro Labs firmware. I just saw today that the GoPro Labs firmware for the 12 is available, and we will test that. GoPro Labs, if you're not familiar with it, is kind of a beta version of firmware that adds some new features that they don't want to release to the public, but it kind of lets people play around with it. And there's an option there to trust the USB power source, and then it doesn't give that warning. And so as long as you know that you're providing, I believe it's 10 watts, maybe just high of 10 watts, then it should be sufficient. And that firmware took care of the majority of those issues. So again, this is day one of the camera. We've got a long way to go before we would recommend it, but the sheer fact that we were able to run a 4K 30 record at a 110 torture chamber without really any hiccups whatsoever is a pretty good day. We'll continue to ramp things up. We'll go higher temperatures, higher settings. We'll find out the point of failure and then make some recommendations past that. But thus far, pretty pleased with the GoPro Hero 12. If there are certain things that you guys want us to test specifically, please reach out. There's a dozen ways to get a hold of us, and you probably already know. Our website is linkspider.com. We have a contact us page. My email address is josh@linkspider.com. Facebook it seems to be the most popular way to communicate with us. We're LinkSpider on that, but we're on all the social medias as well. So have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. See you guys.